be misguided after me, the book of Allah and my sunnah. And this hadith is authentic hadith reported by Imam Malik rahimahullah in his Muwatta. So here Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. Al-Quran is the words of Allah that Jibreel carried to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to the Prophet Muhammad, and delivered to the Prophet Muhammad. So As-Sunnah here will be whatever the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would say, or the Prophet ﷺ will do, practice from the religion, or what the Prophet ﷺ will approve from other people's actions and related to the religion, other than Al-Quran, other than the words which is delivered as Allah's words. So the Prophet ﷺ recited a verse from Quran, this will not be considered Sunnah, it will be a Quran based on this definition. And if the Prophet ﷺ told his companions something, and he did not say this is part of the Quran or this is not a verse from the Quran, it will be considered as Sunnah. This definition used by Al-Usuliyun, or the legal theorists. The Muhaddithin, also the scholar of Hadith, added to this or any description. So the Muhaddithin, the scholar of Hadith, the one who studied the science of Hadith, said, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is what the Prophet said, or did, or approved, or any description the Prophet ﷺ was described with. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was described with. Any physical or relating to any physical description, or even if this description related to his manner, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We find another group of scholars that they define the word sunnah with another meaning. They said, as-sunnah, it's a counterpart to the fard, or wajib, Fard usually used by the Hanafi scholars, and wajib used by the majority of the Muslim jurists. Here it refers to any recommended act. So any recommended act, the Muslim jurist will say it is sunnah, which it means it's not wajib, or it's not obligatory on people to practice. Regardless of this action or this rule been mentioned by the Quran or by the Prophet ﷺ himself. So in this case, a sunnah could be a verse, could be a hadith, or a statement from the Prophet ﷺ. This is the definition which used by the fuqaha or the Muslims jurist. So here it's equal to the word recommended act or mandub. Also, a sunnah used as a counterpart to bid'ah, to the word bid'ah. We say sunnah and bid'ah. Sunnah and bid'ah. And so here it refers to the guidance upon which the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his companions were. If somebody practiced something not from the way of the Prophet ﷺ, we call this bid'ah, or those be called bid'ah. Or it's not from the practice of his companions, it will become an innovation. So he did not follow the way of Muhammad. He followed another way, or other than the Prophet ﷺ's way. So this terminology used a lot by the fuqaha, the Muslim jurists, and also the scholars of Aqidah. Also, it appears in the history of Islam as a counterpart to the Shia. They said Sunnah and Shia also, it's a very common use. Also, here it has a very specific meaning. Here it has a very specific meaning. Also, As-Sunnah been used by the scholars of Aqidah, the one who study they study the Aqidah or the Muslim belief. They use the word Sunnah to refer to the correct belief, That's why you will find a book called As-Sunnah by Imam مثلا Ahmad rahimahullah, Usul al-Sunnah, the foundation of Sunnah. Sunnah here it means the belief. So it has nothing to do with the fiqh, with the practicing, with the thing that people will practice, with the issue of fiqh. It's strictly related to the matters of aqeedah, or the matters of belief and faith. So this is a very specific meaning. And that's why they use the word, the people of Sunnah sometimes, referring to the people who follow the correct belief, not the one who has a false belief. Sunnah also been used by some scholars equal to the word religion, equal to the whole religion. That's why you will see Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the great companion and the first caliph, said, As-Sunnah is Allah's robe. As-Sunnah here means the religion, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to humanity. So they use As-Sunnah to refer to the issue of aqeedah, the issue of the belief, and the issue of fiqh, the things that the people practice, like the salat rules or the rules of Islam. For instance, Al-Imam Al-Baghawi has a famous book called Sharh As-Sunnah. Sharh As-Sunnah, the explanation of Sunnah. When you open this book, you will find issue related to rules and issue related to belief. So As-Sunnah here refer to the word, or equal to the word, the religion of Islam. We see here that As-Sunnah, technically speaking, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different definitions. And this will lead me to conclude with a very, very important point to leave you with it. Whenever you see a terminology, we need to understand what exactly we mean by this terminology and what the scholars use this terminology for. Because it might be different from one group of scholars to another. It might be different from one century to another. And that's why understanding the nature of the meaning of the words or the terminology is a key to understand any subject. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to understand our religion and to practice in the right way. I will leave you with this point, and I will see you again in the next episode to talk about the meaning, linguistic and the technical definitions of the word جماعة. وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد.